My name is Eric Gilston. It's my pleasure to be your announcer tomorrow. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you across the line. Welcome to our Elite Athlete Press Conference. I'm going to now turn it over to our moderator, a journalist for over 2 decades with the Sacramento Bee. He is now we're honored to have him as our Sacramento Running Association's media coordinator. Please welcome to the podium our commentator, mediator today, John Schumacher.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming. We've got a great field on both the women's and men's side this year, and we're going to start with 4 of our top athletes. On the women's side, I just want to introduce each of them. Kristen Freiberg-Zeitz, sitting closest to me. She is a 33-year-old from Broomfield, Colorado. She has a marathon PR of 2:40:47 from 2011. She finished 13th this year in the USA Half Marathon Championships. Happy to have her here. We also have Jeanette Faber from Nashville, Tennessee next to her. She is 2:32:37 PR at Twin Cities in 2012. She's run a 1:13:27 half marathon. And she has an amazing record of lowering her PRs consistently 13 times in a row. And then she went to the World Championships in Moscow and she finished 23rd. So another good effort there. And then we have Lindsay Scherf from Chapel Hill. She's run a 1:11:45 half marathon. She is she lives in Chapel Hill. She went to Harvard. She went to grad school in Michigan. And we also have Telalich Asfa on the end from Albuquerque. Born in Ethiopia, she's a U.S. citizen. She's run 2:34:56 2 different times. One of those at the 2011 CIM where she finished 2nd. So we're going to open it up just a second for general questions. I wanted to start though with a couple questions from up here. First, for Jeanette, can you talk a little bit about how far you've come to get to the elite level, given that I believe back in 2004 in Chicago, you ran 3:28:51 and you never dreamed you'd get to this point, but you certainly have.
Yes, it's true. I ran in college for Grand Valley State University. It's Division II. It's in Michigan, and I had a good career there, but I didn't see running competitively after college, but I've always loved running, so I just kept with it, threw myself into the Chicago Marathon in 2004 right after graduating, and really wasn't ready for it. Ended up making the classic mistakes, going out too hard, walking a fair bit of it. Finished, said I would never do it again, but signed up for another one the next year. And, you know, things just kept rolling over the years. Even a few years after that, 2006, 2007, I still never thought I could qualify for the Olympic trials, but eventually that became my goal. I watched the 2008 Olympic trials from the sidelines and said I want to be there in 4 years. And 2 years later, I qualified at Grandma's Marathon in Duluth, Minnesota, and I've just continued to stick with it over the years.
Thanks, Jeanette. I had a question for Telalich as well. You ran this race in 2011 and finished 2nd in a pretty close race, setting your personal best. Can you talk just a little bit about what you remember from that race and your thoughts on the course?
Yeah, in 2011, this race was, I trained very hard after injury. I used to live in New York, so I trained very hard for this race. So when I came here, when I ran 2:30, that was my PR. When I ran 2:33, I couldn't believe when I finished, so I was so happy. And then the course is a very nice course, so I like to come back.
Thank you.
That's why I come back again.
For Kristen, you finished 13th at the USA Half Marathon Championships this year. If you could talk just a little bit about that experience and what you're hoping to accomplish tomorrow.
Well, that was my first race back in 2013. I had broken my foot last year in December, actually, at this race. So for me, that was just a kind of a rust buster race, and I was very pleased with just being able to get out there and run and be healthy. I've just my fitness has propelled since then, so I feel really good about where I've come and being able to be healthy and be here. I mean, half the battle is getting to the start line healthy, and I am very thankful to be here.
Thank you. And for Lindsay, Lindsay, you kind of discovered running when you were around 10 years old. Can you just talk a little bit about what that meant to you and what doors that opened for you?
When I was in elementary school, I wasn't always confident about academics, even though I've graduated from Harvard. I was dyslexic and had trouble reading, so I kind of took to being the class clown because that was something I was good at, but my parents weren't really happy because that got me sent to the principal's office quite a bit. I was little, so I always was kind of small in the soccer field, but would try to make up for it by running up and down the field all the time. So I ran my very first time mile in the spring of 5th grade, ran it in 5:55 and broke the school record for girls and boys. So after that I went home and asked my dad if I could go running with him, so we started running together about 4 days a week, and after 4 months of training really hard, I broke the age 11 8-kilometer and 5K national records, 17:44 and 29:17, and sort of through learning, if I work hard and apply myself, I can overcome things like I did in running to achieve. I was like, a kind of light bulb went in my head that, yeah, I might have not the easiest time in the classroom, but if I apply myself like I did in my running training, I could see results, and it definitely turned the table. So running really kind of changed the path I was on and turned me into kind of the person I am today. So I love it, and I want to continue to do it till I'm 99 years old.
Thanks, Lindsay. We're going to open it up to some general questions now.
Would like to ask a question? Anybody? Yes, go ahead.
It's supposed to be fairly cold out here tomorrow. I'm not sure how accustomed you guys are to running in cold temperatures, but I was wondering if that has or is going to have any effect on the way that you run the race or strategies that you have.
Any of you, whatever your thoughts are.
I don't think it's going to change our strategy much, but we've all been discussing what we're going to wear and what we're going to shed, and I guess we're just keeping an optimistic look because we know last year the weather was much worse than it is this year. The cold's not necessarily a bad thing. You can still run real fast in the cold.
Another question, please? Who's going to ask a question? Yes, Santa Barbara, running and racing.
Tell us about your diet. Each of you, are you vegetarian? Do you eat meat? What do you do getting ready for this race?
I think the biggest thing is, well, this is my motto, but everything in moderation. And I'm not a vegetarian. In fact, I enjoy having a steak, and I live in Colorado, so I love bison. And we have to be careful with our iron levels. So for me, it's a well-balanced diet. Leading up to the marathon, I'm careful about what I put in my stomach because it's easier to have intestinal problems when you're running that long and that hard and that fast. I enjoy pretty much everything, but moderation is key. So.
I'm not a vegetarian either. Not a very restricted diet.
I think one of the keys is when you're training hard and racing long, you need carbohydrates to fuel what you're doing. So in the days leading up, for me, it's lots of carbohydrate cereal, and for me, I like candy, so I'm kind of munching on candy corn and hard candies most of the day because that's what's appetizing to me, despite my nerves that don't want to have me put anything else in my stomach.
I'm not diet either, so we work hard, so we have to eat like Lindsay said, carbohydrate stuff, and then I didn't choose anything except I don't eat sweet stuff. I don't like to do more sweets or no dessert, so I'm just eat good and then drink some water and some Gatorade stuff.
We've got about 5 more minutes before we shift over to the men's. Time for a couple more questions. Anybody? All right, what about exercise outside of running? You're obviously talented runners, but is there another exercise that you guys like to do? Maybe doing yoga or weightlifting or swimming or biking? Anybody? Or all 4 of you, actually?
I use Pilates to supplement my training, and then we also do weight training. In terms of cross training, I usually do that off season. When I have time off in the winter, I love to cross country ski. It's just something that's fun for me, but it's similar to running. But other than that, I'm pretty much tired and don't want to do any other type of exercise.
I agree. I have trouble walking my dogs when I'm training. But I grew up playing ball sports and I love doing that stuff, but I have gotten away from it. I know yoga's good for you, but I've tried it twice and haven't taken to it, so I'm a runner. I'm boring.
I do a lot of weightlifting, ultimate frisbee, and rock climbing. So it helps me mentally, and I also feel a lot stronger and don't get injured a lot.
I do after running, I just stretch and then do some exercise more to get good shape and then to get from injury. So every time after I run, I have to do some good stretching and good yoga stuff. But sometimes when I am doing long run, I feel tired, so I just do afternoon training, so I just stretch at that time.
All right, one last question to cap off our women's. Otherwise, I got another question. One more? Anybody? Okay, the hay is in the barn. These athletes, whether they follow Galloway's traditional 2-week taper or whatever their training has been, the hay is in the barn. There's nothing they can do now physically that's going to make them have a better race tomorrow. But from the neck up, what mental nugget, each 4 of you, let's go down the line again, what mental nugget in a time of crisis tomorrow? Frank Shorter said it after the 1972 silver medal. The marathon's 2 races, mile 1 to 20 and mile 20 to 26.2. Talk about that last little bit after you go across the American River, as you go through Sacramento State University, that last 10K, the mental nugget that you might be able to share with somebody to draw to that finish line, mentally.
For me, it's having a key word or a motto. So I will be using the word that I like to use. So anyone else can come up with their own word that they may use during practice or when you're out there on a long run and you get really tired. So, you know, you can call on that. And I like to call on all the training that I've done when I've been exhausted and fatigued and didn't think I could go on any longer. And I end up finishing the workout strong. So that's what I'll be calling on for those last 6.2 miles.
I'm not sure what wisdom I have for the last 6 miles, but I would like to say that I've had marathons where the first half has felt horrible, even the first 5 miles has felt horrible, and then somewhere along the lines things start to click and they start feeling good and you finish really, really well. So, you know, if you're not doing well early on, just stay with it 1 mile at a time and eventually it might start feeling pretty good.
I think a marathon's all about perseverance, so I'm expecting it to hurt. I'm expecting it to be a battle, and I want to push through that and really see what comes out at the end when I give it my all. So just a no quit mentality. Giving up's not an option.
The first time I ran a marathon is in New York, so I didn't train hard. But I know I can do it, so I just did only 1 hour and a half training. So my friends, they just pushed me to run, so I'm gonna go finish. I didn't do good training, and then yeah, you can do it. It's nobody, so you can win local. So I just tried. So and then I did good. And on 18 miles, until 18 miles, I was laughing to my friend when they just okay, good job, and I was laughing. And then after 18 miles, I feel everything cramping. So, but I was focusing to finish, so I finished top 15 at that time. So I was so happy. And the one I'm telling you, even if you not train the first time, you can run it. You know, if you put in your mind, you can do it, you will do it. So. But it is good to train. If you don't have time, so this is the first time you can do. Next time you know what is the problem, so you will do it. So just focus to finish.
I wanted to thank all 4 of our top women athletes for coming. Thank you guys and good luck tomorrow.